Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat. Welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evan. It's good to be back with y'all today, and I hope everyone had a good weekend. It's good to see a Brayherd, good to see a Shadowvision. I hope everyone's doing well. And Brayherd, congratulations, you've won the Crown of Furstendom on this, the day we start Recoded. So I guess your crown is data. You have the data entry crown. I'm so sorry. But yeah, so we're gonna be playing Recoded. I joked about this from day one, but I was also serious. I will play all the Kingdom Hearts games other than the mobile ones on stream. And this counts, and it's up next in the play order that I do. Hey, Craig. Hey, Ariam. Good to see you. When does this take place in the timeline? This takes place between 2 and Dream Drop distance. Slash maybe potential. Yeah, it's like, well, yeah, I'll say that. It's complicated. It's so dumb. Anyway, hope everyone had a good weekend. I got to go to the Met and see the new Man Ray exhibit. Had a really cool setup. It was all black because all of his work, well, not all of his, a lot of his work was black and white, and so it felt like you were actually like in a piece of his work. It was really cool. It's really nicely done. But anyway, let's dive on in. Let's check out Recoded. Prepare for this VOD to get muted.
Goodbye.
No, not goodbye. When I wake up, I'll find you. And then there will be no lies. We're gonna be friends for real. Promise me, Naminé.
Remember, this was a DS game, so it's gonna look a little chunky. Fair paid man, Barnacle Boy. Wrong Man Ray, but I guess that is a reference. Hey, you decided to try church again last night. Well, I hope it was a good experience for you, Craig. That's awesome to hear. Look at all the data. Ooh, data. I've heard this song way too many times. And I love it every time. Honestly, for being on the DS, it's not a terrible compression on the pre-rendered stuff.
So now we've taken 2 journeys. One to stop the darkness from spreading, and the other to put all the lost hearts back where they belong. To tell the truth, neither one was easy. But I sure was glad to be the cricket to write down what happened. 2 journeys, both sitting quiet, right here in these 2 books. But now, looks like the only thing left in one of them is a single line.
Thank Namine.
Of course, maybe that's because they're the only words this book was meant to hold. And it's time to close it for good. But who exactly is this Namine?
More words?
A mysterious message.
Uh-huh. I certainly didn't write it. And you know, I never once let the journal out of my sight. I don't know when anybody would have had a chance to.
Their hurting will be mended. Gosh, Jiminy. Sounds like somebody needs help and doesn't know what to do. Let's get to the bottom of this.
Of course, but how? All of the other pages are completely blank.
Sure, the words you wrote are gone, but that doesn't mean the
I love how
journal is
tiny the
empty.
journal is, because it's Jiminy's.
Do you know what you want to?
No.
Your Majesty! Everything's ready! Your Majesty, what Chipper said.
Do you like animated cutscenes? Well, that's a shame. This is basically the only one.
Hey, what's going on? Jiminy's journal! I think it's gone completely nuts! Nuts? Where? That's not what I mean! I don't know what's causing it exactly, but there's something wrong with the worlds inside the journal. And we can't analyze that message for you either.
Isn't there something else we can try?
Gorsh, maybe if we could get in there somehow and fix the data, we could figure out what's wrong.
Hey, that's it! We could look for somebody already in the journal and ask them to explore the world and repair the data. That's a great
Who would we
idea.
send?
Somebody to explore the data from the inside.
And I think we know just the guy to do it. Am I right, fellas?
Are you suggesting yourself, King Mickey? Oh, nope. Oh, yeah, the Thunder Plains. Oh, wow, I haven't thought of that. Yeah, 10 has a killer soundtrack. 10's a good game. I actually intend to play 10 at some point because it also has a really good memento mori and a really nice sense of the importance of burying the dead. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Now step forward. Can you do it? Power sleeps within you. If you give it form, it will give you strength. Choose well. The power of the warrior, invincible courage, a sword of terrible destruction. Is this the power you seek?
Yes, we're gonna go basic.
Your path is set. Now! What will you give up in exchange?
We're gonna go basic. We're taking sword, giving up magic, because magic is fine in this one.
The power of the mystic, inner strength, a staff of wonder and ruin. You give up this power? You've chosen the power of the warrior. You've given up the power of the mystic. Is this the form you choose?
Ah, this is what most of the cutscenes are like. We're in business. That takes care of rewriting Sora. Rewriting? Yep, we rigged it so you can use the Keyblade already. And now you can help us unglitch the journal data. Is something wrong? Could be something gumming up the system. Wait here. We'll hop next door and have a look. Well, I guess Chip and Dale figured the problem out. So, Your Majesty, what is it we're doing exactly?
Uh-huh. Oh, somebody wrote a strange message in Jiminy's journal. And the only way to find out who is by... Only way to find out who is by...
That grammatically makes sense, but it's weird. Ow.
And the only way to find out who is by analyzing the book.
What's the message say?
Their hurting will be mended when you...
No! No, that can't be right.
Really? I'm pretty sure that's what it said, Jiminy.
Not the message. Look at the monitor. What's he doing there? Gosh, I thought Sora was all alone in that dream. That's why I wrote in the journal. So how come that's not what we're seeing? Huh, who are you?
Oh, listen, can you hear me? You have to go after him.
Yes. Huh, no sign of him.
Oh, watch out, Heartless. Use your powers.
My what? How did... it's such a disappointment to have these cutscenes after you've gained the power to fight. And this is your power to survive. There will be times where you have to fight. Keep the light burning strong. Honestly, after the cutscenes of 358, and this is the same studio, it's a little disappointing. Yes, I get prizes. I've played in Kingdom Hearts before.
Oh, right, you've got it. Careful, you're surrounded. You have a command deck.
Overclocks. Attack enemies or certain objects to fill up the clock gauge. Each time you do, it will rise a clock level, activating an ability on the clock ability tree and moving to the next tier. After you've reached one of the endpoints on the tree, filling the clock gauge one last time will change to an attack command to finish. Press A to unleash a devastating attack. Afterwards, your clock level will return to 1, and your abilities for clock levels 2 through max will deactivate. Hey, Britt. Yeah, so that's kind of the main gimmick of combat in this game, which I like, actually. I like the clock system, because, you know, it's computers, but it creates an interesting tempo where you're not just trying to get to the finisher, because, you know, sometimes you're like, oh, well, actually, I'd rather have the abilities. You received XP from defeating enemies and received a level up chip. I know how to level up chips, so that's why I'm gonna... Because it's this matrix here. So it's kind of a twist on the system they used for 358. So you can unlock different abilities. And then as you go around, you can actually, like, there's the difficulty gauge here. There's, like, things where it's, like, it will make it harder, but you get better drops. So, I like the way it augments it. I know this game gets memed on a lot, and it deserves to. But I do think it also has some redeeming qualities. I'm doing fine. Yourself?
Now, open the door. Hold out your keyblade.
Huh? How'd I get back home?
Sora.
That voice again. Who's talking to me?
Sora, are you okay?
How do you know my name? Have we met?
Gee, well, sort of. I'm Mickey. Let's just say I know you, Sora, and Sora knows me. We're good friends.
Well, I guess that makes sense. No, it doesn't. No, that definitely doesn't make any sense. Thank you, Sora. This story actually makes sense. That's terrifying.
Huh? You see, I'm from another world, and gosh, it's a long story. There's this mystery me and my friends are trying to solve, but we can't get to your world, so we were hoping you'd lend a hand.
What do I have to do?
Just take a look around. We're counting on you.
Well, okay, but fill me in. What's going on? I mean, you have to admit, this is pretty weird. How about I explore the island and you steer me along?
It's a deal. I'll give you the details as we go.
Great.
Okay, so the first thing we're looking for are glitches. Anything out of the ordinary.
That's easy. These blocks. How'd I get on this island? Silly blocks.
Perfect. That's part of our mystery.
All right, then. I'll try asking around.
Thanks, and remember, Sora, we might be worlds apart, but just say the word, and I'll do my best to guide you.
Yeah, it can be annoying, but you got Christ on your side, so go talk to everybody. Hey, when did the weird bricks show up? Sir, where have you been? Hey, Selfie. Would you look the island? We're up to our ears in blocks. We'll put them here. Nobody, they keep popping out of thin air. Well, I'll be buried alive at this rate. That's if Titus and Waka aren't 6 blocks under already. What? Why? Where'd they go? Down to the beach to investigate. We're on the beach. Well, that's not far. I'll go see what's up. Blocks. Bugs in the journal data have caused blocks to... Okay, how is a journal full of data? Don't ask questions. Pop up all over the world. You can break them with your Keyblade. Hey, Sora! Things are getting hairy here, yeah? You okay, brother? It's been an interesting day. Where'd these blocks come from, Waka? Hey, they just kind of showed up. Before you know it, they're everywhere, except... What's that block up there? I've never seen one with that pattern. You've never seen any of these blocks. I'll go check it out. You sure? Yeah, wait here. Auto jump. The thing that makes me hate this game. Blocks with a star are called prize blocks. Smash these with your Keyblade to reveal treasures. Anyway, today is the feasts of the Archangels, Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael. And this is not a Father Evan original by any means, but there's beauty in each of their names because they reflect what they do. Michael defends us. Gabriel is a messenger, and Raphael is a healer. And while they're not God, they represent God in a very unique way, and are a sign of God's love for us, that he has so loved us that he's like, hey, I want more than just me to be there and love you. There used to be a bridge here. There's another way to pronounce Raphael. Raphael the Hub. No. Well, they're not coming from the creepy door. There's something inside the block. Really? Anything useful? Maybe I should try it out. Stat chips. They're other kinds of chips that you can place that will do good things. Like this one will give you +2 max HP. Yay! I get that, because I used to work at a Newman Center, and there was also a John Neumann, St. John Neumann in town, and everyone said John Newman, and so they just conflate Newman Center and John Newman. It's like, that's not how it's pronounced. It's Neumann, it's German. Actually, yeah, it was useful. Okay, Hotshot, then do me a favor. Check on Titus for me. We split up to investigate. He can't have gone too far, but you know him. He's probably over his head. Hey, no worries, I'll bail him out. Thanks, brother. I have found Titus. Yes, there is Bernard and Bernard, which is kind of funny because one of my brothers here is a Bernard, and my middle name is Bernard. Huh? You again? No, he's going to spaces I can't go to. Mickey, did he just...
Sora, I'm picking up some kind of signal. Wait, I'm analyzing it. Yep, no question. There's some kind of invisible door near your position.
Invisible door? That's not... Is that another glitch? Let me look around. I think I saw where that guy disappeared to.
Right. I'll watch the signal and let you know if you're getting hot or cold. I think we're finally onto something.
Me too. New Year's Parish to use in Neumann, operated by Oblates Francis de Sales. I like the Oblates Francis de Sales. They're lovely guys. Find the back doors to do the glitches. That has to be where he went. Well, here goes nothing. Yeah, I'll enter the strange portal. What could go wrong? System sectors. The datascape is created from Jiminy's Journal required code to run. This code is housed in a special area called System Sectors. Oh, great, we're in the hard drive. Glitches in the datascape are caused by abnormal enemies inside the system sector. Defeat the bug baddies and debug the sector to return the world to normal. Any programmers in chat? Is this how programming works? Sector points. While inside a system sector, you'll rack up sector points that can be returned for EXP, money, or other rewards. And later, it lets you go gambling with them. Not a program where you'll say 100%. Okay, fair enough. You're just perfectly normal enemies inside the hard drive. So apparently you two were phasing in and out of existence? There's a lot of glitched enemies around here. Gotta get 16. Perkadoo! Log one. Hold on. Some of the small crucifix chain I forgot about one has the same Benedict medal and they wore a mass yesterday and my priest blessed following mass. It was after I left I remember there are special prayer blessed in my races of St. Benedict medals. Am I going to I have a feeling, and I could be wrong, but I have a feeling that the special prayers were probably done by whatever company made it. And I think those kind of prayers and blessings are not, it's not like you need to do it in order to wear the medal. It's just, it is an extra form of prayer. So, you know, either or. I don't think you need to, but it would be, it's nice if you find someone who knows that tradition and wants to do it. Keyblade has been upgraded because of all the baddies. By touching your choice on the clock ability tree, you can control which ability will activate next. Touch the tree icon. Ignore the mouse cursor. It's a totally normal yes. Okay, how much do we have? We have 705. Get as much special chips as we can, and then the rest, I think, for XP. Well, I'm back in one piece. Where'd that guy in the hood go? Yeah, I guess it depends on the company. You know, But if I were to get a Benedict medal from like, and again, I don't know where you got it from, but if I got a Benedict medal from a gift store at a Benedictine monastery, I would assume it'd be blessed. Maybe I'm wrong, but you know, an extra blessing's never hurt. It's not like, you know, it's not like if something has been blessed, you bring it to get blessed again. It's not like God's going, oh, nope, double blessings that cancel out. So, you know. But yeah, I think you're totally fine to find a priest to do those extra blessings and prayers. Debugging sector fixes things. Yo, Sora! Titus, there you are. Wako was worried. Man, did you see that? The missing bridge just popped back into existence. And these blocks, last I checked, it's not April Fool's. No, in fact, it's September 29th. Too bad we don't know what's causing all this. Or do we? No way, you figure out where the blocks are coming from? Well, no. But I found a clue. Really? What do you think I've been doing all day? Having a laugh? Okay, you asked for it. Oh, here he goes. You want to know about the clue I found? You'll just have to earn it. All right, you're on. No holding back now. Titus has a stick. We have a keyblade. All my hits are phasing through Titus. You got a potion. Yeah. Item commands. They're just like regular commands, but with items. Nah, I don't think it's a big no-no at all. You know. Just don't forget what you promised. I know the clue, right? Yeesh. Okay, so I saw this stranger walking around the island. Uh-huh. Don't you think the timing's just a little suspicious? First these blocks show up, and then some weirdo in a black coat. Black coat? You saw that guy? Over by the waterfall. I looked away for 1 second, and he was gone. The waterfall. Got it. Thanks. In case you forget where it is. Okay. Let's do a little fire. I don't think I have anything. Yeah. No, I do have the power armlet. Attack boost ability, strength when you're down 25%. Okay, so not huge, but... I'll save the blank chips for now. Stop selling blessed objects literally. Well, I think it can vary. I mean, you know, if you have a religious goods store, like a bookstore in a parish like we have here, you know, and you're buying from a religious company, odds are it's already been blessed. Simony is really buying the blessing itself. That's like, Simony is like requiring that someone pay $100 per baptism. It's like you may have a baptismal fee, but it's ultimately a recommended donation. It's not required. But to make it something required, that's more simony. But, you know, there are all sorts of religious goods stores and companies out there. selling from monasteries, where things are, I would say, considered blessed, and maybe not necessarily standard objects, but sometimes yes. But even the, a kind of fudge made at a monastery is going to be blessed in a particular way by the monks who have made it. I wouldn't say that that's simony to sell it. And yeah, part of it is also price. If you're going to charge a huge amount, but it's ultimately the sin of simony is charging for church blessings and sacraments. Yeah, and some of the companies may not have them blessed, but if it's something that's made by monastics who are doing it in prayer, I'm going to assume that's blessed in a particular way. So, get it. Where'd he go? Through that door? Whoa, what's that? There's a road for the taking if you end our world's aching. Who said that? Not Mickey.
Huh? What? What's that bright light?
I can't see a thing. Oh no, Donald got gomaged. Gosh, what happened? I'm still seeing stars. Hey, yuck. Huh? Again, look at the journal. There's a new entry.
Another message. Let's see. There's a road for the taking if you end our world's aching.
What does that mean?
The world is aching.
Not just the world, our world. Huh? Hey, look at the monitor.
Hey, it's him.
Whose voice was that? This world has been connected. Oh. Huh? Hey, I've been looking for you. Tied to the... What? There's a road you must take. But first, you must end our world's aches. What aches? Are you talking about the blocks? To make this place whole, the key holds the place. Another riddle. Hey, wait, I'm not done with you. Huh? What's this thing?
Sora, do you read me?
Mickey, I've got something weird here. Yeah, and black left behind a... Well, it looks like a keyhole.
Any ideas?
As a matter of fact... May you say again? To make this place whole, the key holds the place? I think I need to find a way through.
Have you tried crawling through the keyhole? Why don't you try the Keyblade?
Of course! This game is a representation of what happens when Sora's unfettered denseness is left alone and without a party. Whoa! What is this place?
Sora, are you okay?
For now, anyway. Any idea where this is?
I'm not sure, but I'll tell you one thing. Whatever's causing the glitches must be in there with you.
If I find the cause, I can put the island back to normal?
It's too soon to say. You better take a look around.
Okay, here goes.
Just be careful, Sora. Whatever's in there, it's powerful.
Right. Boss fight, boss fight. Oh no, this Darksider is made of data. Oh goodness, it's Bad Roxy. How are you, Bad Roxy? Boss stage screen. Defeat the enemy or bash blocks to release prizes and increase your score. You'll be awarded based on your performance. Like I said, Bad Roxy, I promised from day one when I started with Kingdom Hearts 1 that I would be playing this eventually. And that time is now, unfortunately. Blocks, it's not Wednesday. We are almost there. There we go. Some of the boss fights in this game are actually really interesting because they'll take on like completely different mechanics. Like one of them's a rail shooter. Ow. All right, one more cycle. You're doing paperwork and watching Pokemon episodes that aired 25 years ago. Oh man, I love jelly donuts. Oh no, they have 3 frames of animation. How will I defeat them? Okay, I actually have to be somewhat careful because I don't have any healing ability. It took us 3 hours to beat Destiny Islands. Go team. Rank star out of no. Cube.
Do you think Sora's all right?
Wait, I'm tracking him now. Whoa,
What is it?
a new entry in the journal.
More hurts than the one we have just undone?
Yuck!
That was so 90s. It was so radical.
Gee, now that can't be right. If the data was repaired, we should be seeing the things that were written inside my journal, right? But what we just saw, that never happened. Or at
Or
least I
did it?
never wrote it down.
You mean and some of the stuff you don't know about?
I wonder what's going on inside the journal.
There's other data in it.
Aha! We found Sora!
Ah! Hey! Huh?
Sora noises. How did I
Sora, are you all right?
think so? Mickey, what happened? Where am I?
Gee, you must have been taken someplace else. Tell me about where you are now.
It looks like a town, or... Wait, the island. Did I fix it?
Yep, all the blocks are gone. You did a great job, Sora. Where are you again? Huh.
Glad to hear it. So, okay, I'm in a strange town. Why? Is this place full of glitches too?
Could be. Mind taking a look around?
Sure, I'm on it. Oh, there's somebody right over there. I'll ask him. Hello there. Hey, kid. Haven't seen you around before. You new to Traverse Town? My name's Sora. Nice to meet ya. I'm Sid. This here's my shop. So, Sora, don't suppose you ran into the triplets on your way here? Triplets? Yeah, there's 3 of them. Uno, dos, tres. He's talking Spanish. They went off to see what's got the town all scrambled, and well, they come back. What's wrong with the town? Oh, I'll say. There's weird blocks popped up every which way. You clear them out, and I'll just come right back. Weird blocks, huh? Sounds familiar. Can't put my finger on it. I don't see any blocks right now. Well, just as you go for a little walk, you can't miss them. Hey, while you're talking to town, keep an eye out for the triplets, yeah? Sure, what are their names? Well, there's Huey, he's the feller in red. Dewey wears blue, and Louie's decked out in green. Huey, Dewey, and Louie. There's Huey Lewis in the news. Got it. I'll take a look. Attaboy. You got any questions? Just ask around town. Will do. See you later, Sid. We couldn't actually make the inside of his shop, so he just hangs out outside. Moogle. Don't think I have any other... No, I don't. Okay, cool. More new sector has been unlocked. Wiring. Wiring is another way to pass power from the CPU to other objects. Dual processing. Now that you have more than one CPU, try connecting them with chips to activate dual processing. Double the effective chips in between the two CPUs. I only have some blank chips, and that's not gonna do anything. Yeah, the auto jump is freaking out there. Hey, did you miss the Moogle shop and the save point in the previous area? Because, just in case... I've said this before, maybe on stream, maybe not, I forget, but this game would be so much better if it were just a different IP, but it would be so much more forgettable then. Huh? Help! He's in trouble. Are you okay? Gonna guess you're Huey. That's me. Me and the guys are trying to figure out what's clogging up the town with blocks. You mean you and Dewey and Louie, was it? Where are they? I don't know. We got separated. They must have gone to check the alleyway. Got it. I'll go take a look. Right, follow me! Yikes! Hey, Hope. Get back. I'll handle this. That one Heartless in particular is gonna get it. Sure are a lot of Heartless around here. Red. Huey! You go back to Sid's shop. I'll find Dewey and Louie. Okay. Oh yeah. Here, you can have this. He's giving me an L chat. I found it while I was investigating. Pretty cool way it sparkles, huh? Yeah, thanks. Just I've always wanted. Anyway, next up, the alleyway. The writing in this game is all over the place. I forgot how wild the writing is. Oh, we're doing Kingdom Hearts. We're doing a Kingdom Hearts of all time, Mel. If you want to call this Kingdom Hearts, sure. It looks like Kingdom Hearts. Crying from bad. It's not. Well. You don't think you've ever heard of this one? A lot of people haven't. It's one of the ones that was turned into a movie in the HD collections, and I think most people have not watched the movie. It must be in place. What was the cell phone game? Which one? Because there was Kingdom Hearts Verizon, which was which is the only non-canon cell phone game, but that was released in Japan only. Then there was Kingdom Hearts Coded, which was released in Japan only, but then was remade for the DS. That's what this one is recoded. And then there was Kingdom Hearts Key, and then there was Kingdom Hearts Key Union Cross, which was kind of a redo / an expansion. And then that also included later Kingdom Hearts Key Union Cross Dark Road, and Dark Road is a completely different game with completely different mechanics. And yes, both Union Cross and Dark Road are plot relevant. Hey, how much I know. Huh? I hear something. Better have a look around. What? Yeah, that's the appropriate response with the mobile games. I played a lot more of Union Cross than I wish to admit. But then I tried Dark Road and I just could not care. Mobile games with plot relevance. Yeah, well, not like you can understand the plot without them, but particularly, well, Union Cross helps you understand who Ephemer is, who shows up in, as well as Chirithy, who both show up in 3. And Dark Road is all about Xehanort's time as a student and becoming a bad guy. I'm right here! Over here! Oh, I'm working on it. Why were the games spread out over so many consoles? Licensing and development. Oh, thanks. I thought they'd get me for sure. No problem. Let's see. Blue. Dewey, right? I'm sorry. Are you okay? Sure am. Okay. Oh, let me give you something for helping me out. Thunder. Lightning and the thunder. So you'll never believe what I found while I was investing. What? It's gone! What's gone? The thing! Gee, I must have dropped it somewhere in the 2nd district. I gotta go find it. Hey, wait, where are you? Money? I mean, that too, but... Come on, this way! I was talking about playing Kingdom Hearts with my friends over the weekend. Played the first 2 games. Said that's gonna be fed by that. That's even wrong. What are you talking about? There's only 3 Kingdom Hearts games: Kingdom Hearts 2, and Kingdom Hearts 3, right? Right? Mr. Krabs, what want you to open a second Krusty Krabs location? Money. The platforming in this game is awful. By the way, there's an auto jump. But even then, the auto jump will make you miss certain jumps. Are you for real? Yeah, the auto jump's kind of terrible. Honestly, if they removed this, the game would get a lot better. Because sometimes you're trying to line up a thing and Sora will just be like, I will jump now. Shiny out of easy spot. Hey, don't run off like that. It's dangerous. Aw, please. What are you afraid of? Monsters? Ah! Monsters! Dewey, get to safety. Also, how does he know what a Heartless is? The saving grace of this game is it's short. It's like 13 hours long. Probably less if we don't do any dilly-dallying. I told you it's dangerous. But I want you to see the thing I found. We go back to Sid's. I mean it. Aw, but Sora, I can't go back empty-handed. Just let me look a little longer. Brother. Alright, but stay out of trouble until I get back. You see any Heartless, you run away, promise? Ah, Junior Woodchuck's honor. Sora's like, what's a Junior Woodchuck? What's a woodchuck? Ah. Perfectly cromulent experience. Cool babysitting side quest. How much would a chuck? If Woodchuck could chuck wood, would it pay full price to go to a Barbra Streisand concert? Dilly dally, shilly shally. The time you do the forgiving. Am I getting Advent children quoted at me? I did not have that on my bingo card for today. I'm gonna bully the cube in the corner. No, get back down here while you're all prize cube. It's great news for me. Also, prepare to fight like a million of these. Basically, it's a mini boss multiple times in every world. Sometimes there's multiples of them in the same sort of arena. So impressed he clocked that line as Advent Children so fast. I don't know if impressed is the right word. Oh, you're okay. I was starting to get worried. Anyway, check it out. I found the thing. You fell on the floor, but I found this? Oh, that's great. See how pretty it is when it catches the light? Yeah, I already have one. I want you to have it, Sora. After all the trouble you went through. Wait, Dewey. I've got one of these. Oh, you don't need it. I'll give it back. Hey, cool. I wonder if they fit together. Actually, yeah, if I stick it like this. Now I have a different shell. Do you think they're supposed to make something? Could be, but look. We're still missing some pieces. Now let's go hunt him down. Did you forget what just happened? Huh? You're going back to Sid's shop where it's safe. Aw, but I want to go with you. No buts. I'll bring the pieces when I'm done. Now get those legs in gear. Right, legs in gear. I promise. Not so fast. Sid's shop is the other way, Buster. I know a shortcut. Uh-huh. I better go with you. Aw, phooey. They look the same. It's the same asset. It is. There are some cut corners in this game. Do you really think they're not supposed to make something? No, not really. Also, you don't get... You may notice that I don't have Fyra. I have Fire level 5. I think you do get regular Fyra later. A father joke? So if you were going to the library and you needed books on the subject of oil, you'd have to go to the non-friction section. Gamepad, be funny. Well, that's the best I've got. Dewey, you're all right. I'm fine, Sid. Gee whiz, where were you? Alleyway behind 2nd District. Was Louie with you? What? I thought he was with you. Might be he's in the 3rd District. Sorry, think you have a gander? Yeah, sure, I don't mind. Actually, I've got something to hunt for myself now. Yeah, what's that? You ever seen one of these? It's an L. Well, sure, that's, nope, no clue. We found him! The other pieces have gotta be around here, town somewhere. What happens when you put them all together? Who knows? Something cool, I bet. Yeah, it's gotta be. It's like everyone my dad sent me the other day. Sure. Let's see what I turn up. Look for Louie. Thanks, Sora. Here, take this for the road. Speed combo. It's different from his chip. Be careful out there. I will, thanks. Sure, let's try out the speed combo. We have some gratuitous educational content. Huh? The door won't open. You, open the door. Or 3rd District won't budge. I'd go find out what's wrong, but I have no match for all this Heartless. That's okay. I am. Really? But, well, if you say so. You have to go through the 2nd District to get to the 3rd. Take the north door. Did you know that a flipped canoe is a perfect hat? There's a brick wall here. Because it's capsized. Where's that door? Must be a glitch like the bridge back on the island. I'll just have to track down the cause. I keep wanting to use the analog stick on my totally normal DS, but it doesn't work. This music makes us feel timed. No, it's just taking time off our lives. How is this game being played? On totally normal DS. I do have an actual cartridge of this game, and I ripped this myself. Blue blocks are bouncy. Ghost blocks. Green blocks will pop in and out of existence. What an original video game concept. I like that on the Kingdom Hearts soundtrack, there's like 3 songs original to Coded. Exit this floor. Yes! Oh, I hear Father Dave. I see Father Dave. Oh, that's Jack. The website I'm trying to work off today has auto-playing the video each PDP, and it's scaring the heck out of me. Oh! Bad website design. Bad. What? I jumped. Didn't mean to fall all the way there. There we go. Exit the terminal! It worked! The door's back to normal. So unfortunately, I don't know what ability that is until we get to it. Bug chips require a special chip to break them. But I'd rather focus on connecting the two CPUs. Because then we'll get like a huge boost on our levels. Because every level up will be times 2, as well as all the other stats, but mostly the levels. Are you kidding? No, I don't think they are, Sora. Sorry, Data Sora. This is a different Sora than the one we all know and love. Dang it. Sora, please. My data cubes are very sick. Louie! Are you there, Louie? Come here, boy. Oh, no response. Ah, great. Well, you were the one. Well, that was a fun finishing attack. Honestly, gets a good amount of attacks, too. Now, Roxy, if that website's bothering you, clearly you need to take a page from Sora here and just, like, you know, find the glitch spot and hack in and defeat the glitch Heartless. 'Cause that's what's causing that, right? I would love to go to my work computer and do some destruction. Oh no! Still no Louie. I guess I'll check back at Sid's. Hey! He's headed for First District? I will follow him, but there's treasure to be found. Who wants to watch ChatGPT with a giant key? Just asking for a friend, right? Ah. Yes, me. I am my friend. Well, that's good. It's good to be your own friend. There he is. But where's everybody else? All right, fess up. These glitches are your doing. Hey, I'm talking to you. Yeah, no, I just have an image of you holding a whole, like, 737 inch. Okay, Mr. Glitch, you can go time out now, eh? Upgrade. I have Kingdom Hearts Kingdom Key 2.5. Apparently. Nope, not Stat Matrix. Gear Matrix. Oh, I'm still in the middle of a combo, so I can't change that. That's obnoxious. I really don't like the big bodies because it's so hard to tell their front and their back. I feel like a lot of this game was written by someone who's like heard of computers, but really hasn't known what computers really are or learned more in depth since like the 90s. You know, is everyone's favorite part of Kingdom Hearts 1 platforming? You sure about that? Ah, let's make an entire Kingdom Hearts game based around platforming. Okay, well, what console should we put on? Ah, the DS with the tiny screen. Yeah. The energy bomb. Good, everybody's back. I hope the glitches don't get any worse than that. I'll use a blank chip here to dual process. And just like that, we go from level 4 to level 7. So, let's go ahead. Let's take our commercial break, chat. We'll be back in about 3-ish minutes, so don't go anywhere. Take a chance to get up, get a drink of water, do what you need to do. We will be right back. And we are back. Let's go talk to Sid. Sid, are you guys all right? The first district's gone crazy. Huh? What's this now? Seems quiet as ever to me. More like boring as ever. Yeah, Sora, you feeling okay? But you mean you didn't? How could they not have noticed that? Still no word on Louie. Wasn't in the third district. Where else can I look? Let's see. Good question. I'll just do another sweep of town. Good man. Be careful now, you hear? Maybe behind the magic door? I don't even know if you can even access that. There are so many red Nocturnes. This is so unnecessary. Okay, nope, that door does nothing. Gonna swap out this blank chip for a level up chip really quickly. Come on, Louie, where are you? Whoa, look at all these blocks! Look at all these chickens. Gotta do something about these blocks before the town is completely buried. Sora, block garbage man. Excuse me, there's supposed to be a door right there. There's a doorway that connects second district and first district on top of the roof. Huh. There's something weird going on over at Gizmo's shop. Does that look normal to you, chat? I think it's fine. Whoa! What? Building? It's flat as a pancake! Is somebody there? Hey! Louie, where are you? Can I get back to you on that? All I know is that I'm standing on top of a building. What building got destroyed? Louie vanished? I better fix this glitch fast for his sake. Here goes. Yeah, I hate being stuck in the Eldritch Horror space. I don't really know what's up or down. It's very confusing. I shall investigate yon portal. Slider blocks. You can move blue blocks to turquoise pattern someplace more useful by hitting them with your keyblade. Like into a corner. It got stuck. It's stuck. There we go. No! Dang it. That nerd just made me accidentally smack that block right off the edge there. Now I can't get the prize box. Rude. Pair blocks. Each blue blocks with a star has 3 corresponding light green blocks with a star. Both of these pair blocks will move if you hit them. Slide them next to each other and turn into a prize block. I'll get back to you guys. I found a prize first. I have my priorities. Oh, this looks fun. Oh, hey, I actually got it. No. Go that way. No! Sora! Please! The enemy! Yeah. Love when a combo makes me jump off the cliff. Hey, Princess Pros, is this well before Disney's remake of the game? Technically, this game's never been remade. It's been turned into a movie, but that's it. Yeah. How you doing today, Princess? This game looks as good as they say. I have the models upscaled. Before they had all the Disney characters. No, this has Disney characters in it. So I'll be going to Alice in Wonderland after this world. But this game in particular, you just see this computer space a lot. Because you're fixing the glitches of the notebook. So apparently a paper and pen notebook can have glitches. Yeah, we've been hanging out with Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Ooh, no freeze ability. That's nice. Beef. I saw beef in there. Hello, anybody down there? It's coming from the top of the building. Yeah, he said it was at the top of the building. Put a strength and a lucky strike. There. Yeah, now we have a 4th ability slot. Let's get this ability, which is block. I look forward to never using that. Fire C, overspec. Clock gauge, charge speed up. Usually convert 2 commands, wind up. Show get a more powerful version. Okay, cool. C fill more of the clock gauge. Oh, nice. And I'm actually out of abilities to meld, but that's okay. Was this released on the DS? Yeah, this is the second of the 2 DS games. Yeah, both were made by a studio called Hand, which itself is an acronym. I don't know for what. You all right? Yeah, thanks to you. Good. Let's get you back to Sid's. Oh, Louie, have you seen anything like this? I have 1,000 of them. I got one too. Check it out. We have another L. Let's see if it fits with the pieces I've got. Wow, it made a really long L. It sure does, but look. Yeah, we're still missing a part. What do you think it's supposed to be? A keyhole? A keyhole? Hey, wait a second. What's wrong? Oh, nothing. Sorry. Let's head back to Sid's. Be easy, Aaron. What's this? The Krypton factor puzzles with the L? I genuinely forget what we're building. How long is this game? About 12, 15 hours. Ah! Louis, get back. No, run. Get SIDS. Okay, be careful. I hope you're happy about all the trouble your glitches have caused. What? You're... Hey, it's gone. Peace. If I combine it with the others, I'll get an even longer L. I knew it. No, you didn't. Louis said it. It's the same as before.
Huh? Sora, can you hear me?
Mickey, listen to this. You remember that keyhole from the island? I found another one. This works not the same as last time.
Huh? You think the source of all the glitches might be waiting inside?
Exactly. If I go through the keyhole and defeat it,
The town might turn back to normal. You do that, Sora?
we've come this far. Leave it to me. How? Lots of cutscenes like this. Also, there's a... Well, I don't want to say there's a fair number of worlds, because there's like... There's Destiny Islands, Traverse Town, Agrabah. I think this is the only Kingdom Hearts without a Winnie the Pooh reference. There's Alice in Wonderland. There's... I'm trying to remember if the whale is in it. I don't think so. 2 levels of Hollow Bastion, the world that never or no, not the world that never was, End of the World, and the Castle Oblivion. So there's like 9 worlds. You're about to enter a side-scrolling stage. Tread carefully. If you fall into pits or get caught behind blocks, you will take damage. What just happened? I feel flat.
Sora, careful! Things don't seem to work the usual way inside that keyhole. Some kind of energy spike is causing the world around you to distort.
Energy spike. You think it's another giant enemy like on the island? Either way, I guess we found the source of the glitches.
It sure seems that way. The energy spike is coming from further in.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Now, hold on! You need to know what you're getting into. The distortions are sure to limit your movement. Not all of your abilities will work.
Well, whatever. I'll figure it as I go along. Thanks, Mickey. Wow. Stage 1. Oh, it's an auto-scroller, too. Oh, no. I forgot how bad this is. Oh, and I can only have one ability at a time. That's cool. Nope. Give me the Thunder Rain. It's a very useful ability. Okay, well, I lost the Thunder Rain ability, but I'm stuck. I'm stuck. That block fell on top of me, and I could not get out. know it's been years since I've played this game in full. Boy, it's worse than I remember. This is gonna make Dream Drop Distance feel like Magnum Opus. And Dream Drop Distance is a good game, don't get me wrong, but... Blocks are getting denser.
Stay sharp, Sora. The energy spike is still further up ahead.
Roger that. No, sorry, I think you're getting more dense. But anyway. Whoa! Whoa. I barely made that. Nope, come back. Or not. I just zipped through those blocks. Okay. Mickey, how am I doing?
You're real close, Sora.
Which almost looks like your real dose.
Just promise you'll play it safe.
Will do. Uh-huh. Sora, play it safe. Oh, I know I'm not in Traverse Town. We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto.
Sora, look out! You're right on top of the energy spike.
This is the energy spike. Oh, hello, guard armor, but correct colors. It's nice to see you. We don't get to see guard armor in purple very often anymore because of the HD. All the HD re-releases are the final mix mode, where it mixes up the colors of all the enemies. Ow. Taking a little steppy. No. Sora, no! Sora, please. I want the prize block. Dang it. Oh, we are so close, though. There we go. We got an A. Last time we got a star, this time we get an A. I don't understand this grading system at all. You got Wishing Star. You have a Keyblade chip. It just changes the clock abilities. It doesn't change any other stats. Why are the blocks still here? Didn't I get rid of the enemy controlling them?
You did! Now you just need to sweep up! Use your power, Sora, and end all the glitches here once and for all!
My power?
Uh-huh! The power that's yours and yours alone, and also everyone else who wields a Keyblade. Use the Keyblade to lock the keyhole for good!
Right, here goes.
That should be the end of the blocks in town. Nice work, Sora! You've solved this world's mysteries!
But what about that guy in the black hood? I mean, he could be the one behind this whole mess.
It's another new entry.
It looks to me like a new message gets added every time a world inside the journal's repaired.
Yeah, just like before.
What if we solved plot holes by making larger plot holes?
Well, I sure didn't write anything like that in the journal.
Hey, do you fellers think that maybe the journal's trying to tell us something?
Here in the castle? What happened?
We gotta check the rest of the castle now. It won't open. Hey!
Don't you have a cornerstone of light to solve this problem?
This is not our day.
Well, fellas, I hate to say this, but we're trapped.
Well, what? But tell me how this room in the castle.
Huh?
Huh?
What's that?
Undo the hurt to unbar the way.
Gorge, we're trying. It said we've already undone some of it, right?
Well then, we'll just have to keep going, repairing the journal's data as fast as we can.
Oh, Your Majesty, I think Sora just might have reached the next world.
Well, we gotta do something about the castle.
I'm as worried as you are, Donald. But right now, our best hope is fixing up the journal.
Okay.
Yeesh. At least part of the scenery hasn't changed. Wait, now you remember that you've been here?
Sora, do you read me?
Mickey, what is going on? Where'd the town go? I was there just a second ago, wasn't I?
I'm sorry, Sora. I don't know what's going on. Eliminating bugs in one world must open a road to the next. Undo the hurt to unbar the way.
Wait, so that thing I clobbered inside the keyhole, that was a bug? So then these blocks must be bugs too, right?
That's right, or at least bugs are what caused them. So far, the major bugs seem to have been hiding inside keyholes. You'll probably need to find this world's keyhole too.
But if I do clean up the bugs here, I'll just get blasted off into the unknown again, right? Sign me up! I've always wanted to see other worlds. Just point me at those bugs.
Ah, that's the spirit.
Someone help! Help, please! What's the matter? Right, get back. I'll take care of him. Whew, good riddance. You okay? Why, yes, thank you. I'm sorry, have we met? Oh, I'm Sora. What's your name? Well, it's hopeless. I simply can't remember a thing. Not even your name? You could say her mind's like me, a bit fuzzy. Huh? What are you saying? She has amnesia? Gesundheit. No, silly. I mean, what the miss has misplaced lies literally littered about the place. Yes, her memories, oh, and everyone else's too. This place has become quite buggy, you see. Or maybe you don't. Bugs. That's what Mickey said. So the bugs have caused everybody's memory to go all funny. I better find the keyhole quick. Keyhole? Was it a very large keyhole? Yes, you saw it where? Oh, I can't seem to recall. Poor dear. What's to remember when her memories are dismembered? It's a horrifying sentence. No. To get the girl thinking, what you need is an inkling. An inkling? What'll that do? Don't look at me. It's not as though I have an inkling. But if you find one, this whole mess will surely be forgotten. is it remembered? Weirdo. Inklings. Everyone's lost their memory. Actually, I wonder if... Kupo, do you have Cure? Ah, you do have Fire. That's cool. But you don't have Cure. I really like Cure. Oh, also we have a new Keyblade. Let's check it out. So Wishing Star has a lot of the same abilities, just in a different order. I'll stick with Kingdom Key 3. Oh, whatever was my name. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Alice? Oh, yes, of course, I'm Alice. That's great, your memory's back. So, Alice, where did you see that keyhole? Well, let me think. Sort of glowed, as I recall. Yep, that's the one. Where is it? Come on. Well, that's... Oh, dear, I suppose I'm still a bit foggy about the details. But the fogs that fogging her could be unclogging with the right memory jogging. Okay, so if I keep giving her, like, inklings, she'll eventually remember where she saw the keyhole? But where can I find more inklings? Oh, this way, that way, and in between ways. And don't remember, in locked ways, too. Okay, sit tight, Alice. I'll be back with more stuff to remind you. Oh, thank you. Ah, careful now. Mind you find them right in the reminders. Alex's inklings lie strewn about, but then so does everyone else's. The question is, which are remind hers and which are remind thems? I'll have to sort it out. That's right. Sort it out and end the hurt. Stop showing up like that! Our world still aches, and your next road still awaits. Nerd. I see after. How do I figure into it? Who cares? Right now, I'm getting Alice's memory back. Getting Alice's memory back is more important. I am sleepy today. You there, what are you doing? Me? I was just looking for something I lost. Well, you may kindly look elsewhere. These gardens are property of Her Majesty the Queen of Hearts. Wander about, lad, and I'm afraid it's off with your head. That's great. Just have to sneak by without drawing attention. Yeah, that's the solution, Sora. Just jump straight to the... Just jump straight to sneaking around. Brilliant. Everyone loves mandatory stealth section. Nope. Thank goodness there's a mini-map. No, you didn't see me. That's okay. Oh, no. Ah. Halt! Who goes there? Just look for trouble, I say. Now get out! Need to be more careful. I think what we've learned is that the guards run kind of slowish and ignore you. What happened? I'm tiny. Well, that's too far down to jump. Yes, I'm stuck up here. I live here now. Being little makes for big trouble, especially when I'm around. What to do? What to do? Hey, don't just leave. I mean them. Oh, giant Heartless. That Heartless is always that size. Okay, maybe it's a little bigger. I'm glad that's over, but I'm still stuck up here. Doesn't stick around for long, does he? Well, let's see what he brought me. Let me change up my tree for a moment. I cannot break this block. Whoa, no! I am slightly larger. Yeah, I'm a little bigger now. Is it safe to jump off the table now? It feels weird being in this room at this scale. Like, this is not the scale it should be. It feels both too large and too small at the same time. Leave me alone! I just want to talk to the door! What a weird-looking doorknob. Weird? Impertinent. Of the two, I'd say you're the weird-looking doorknob. Ah, it talks! Just fallen into the nicest nap, and then the whole world turned on its side. Do take care. You never know when another twist of fate might be at your door. Must be another bug. Don't worry, I'll find a way to put things right again. I don't know, maybe being on this side is better, because you can... Surprised to see me. Here's a little something for rising to the challenge. Alice in Wonderland door. Alice in Wonder door. Anyway, here's Wonderwall. Get on top of the table. I think. Yeah. Here it is. more challenges. Attempt these challenges for extra SP. Okay. Take no damage more than 14 times. I'm not gonna wager a very high amount because I play kind of recklessly. Wait, we've been here. We've seen this exact room layout before. Are you telling me they're reusing room layouts? In this DS game? I know, right? I wonder what production time for this game was like. Like, was it rushed, or did it have a normal cycle? Which, a lot of gaming is rushed anyway. Gaming rushed? Like E.T. for the Atari 2600? No, never. No, I think Roxy was being sarcastic there. Sarcasm is hard to communicate in short text. No, you read it just fine. It's just, sarcasm is hard to communicate in written form. Are there any prize cubes? Doesn't look like it. Let's just leave. Oh hey, I actually beat the challenge. Yes. Okay, what's a debug device R? Destroys one of the red bugs. Yes. Like fire +1, but HP is just really useful in general. That's okay, we can get a fire +1 later. Oh, finally, some peace and quiet. I'll be getting back to that nap now. Excuse me, I was going towards a save point. No! I just want to climb the ladder. Leave me alone. I need to equip the anti-freezing thing that I got. Whoa, we've unlocked a new matrix. We got a cheat tuner. This is one of those things I was telling you about where it's like... let's get this ability. Put a level up there. Hey, combo plus. Worth. Blizzard Charm. I didn't want to do the speed combo and accidentally get launched off. Oh, that's unfair. Oh dear, they're very upset with me. Yeesh. There's there this many of them. I don't need to ask. I don't think asking nicely will get me a pass. Could this be a bug? No, sorry, this is perfectly normal. Destroy 35 blocks. I can do that. Blast blocks. Red blocks are a cracked pattern will explode not long after you touch them, or immediately if they're hit by too much force. Oh yeah? So why do they look like lava? No! Bouncy blocks are the worst. There's my elevator. Destroy 20 blocks. Gee, I feel like these wagers are like set up to be easily won. Of course, they're all silver here. Oh my goodness, Sora. I actually need to wait for it to generate more blocks so I can get the challenge. No, I don't want you to attack the core. I want you to attack the prize. Datasora. Okay, we're almost there on the challenge. There we go. Challenge complete. Now we can take out the core. Should we keep a running tally of how many times we fight the block snake? Because that was number 2. Now that sounds like something I should be getting for Alice. Oh, I've got the compass, why not? I've got the points for it. Scar does not care about me. I've made a real blunder this time. Off with his head, the Queen of Hearts will say. Oh, look at me, I've worked so hard, I'm covered in dirt. And for what? I got it all wrong. What was my mistake? The cookie. Oh, that wasn't it. I think it was something I planted. I don't have the white roses yet. Stop right there, criminal scum. Paint the roses red. Off with her head. Indeed. Inkling. Hearts. Oh, Gamera bad. Ooh, Thunderblast Seed. Yeah, it's an exit, but let's keep exploring this room. Oh, no. No, 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 no. I can't climb a ladder with Blue Rhapsodies around. That's an OSHA violation. Nope, not far enough. I can't not click my tongue in rhythm with this song for some reason. This inevitably happens. Okay. Nope. How do I get up that way? I don't know if I can, really. I'll give this block another try, and then we'll go out the exit that's to the lower right on the map. Yeah, wrong way. Let's trust the auto jump this time. Wow, another hedge maze. Who would have seen that coming? Mad Tea Party? At this place, hey, all kinds of inklings. I'm gonna find him. Why did that need to be a cutscene? Oh, I really must be going. I'm already late. Oh wait, that's the Mad Hatter. That's not the right rabbit. I'm late. I'm late. I'm late. I'm late. Oh, hello. What are you doing under the table? Why, hiding, of course. No shadow showed up and oh me, oh my. What, the Heartless? I took care of him. He's safe now. Yes, that's well and good, but I'm late for a very important something. You've lost your memory, too. Sorry, I don't remember. I just know somewhere in a hurry. Listen, do you know anything about a girl named Alice? Alice, you say, that girl? Yes, perhaps I do. Really? That's great. But then perhaps I don't. I simply can't recall. Oh, all I remember is I glanced at something and I knew I was dreadfully late. Giant clock in your hand? Ah, yes. You're absolutely wrong. That's a good line to use. You're absolutely wrong. Star Rave. What's this say? A very merry on birthday. There's something here. Ah. What's going on? I can't see past them when they're going this fast. Guess this is another bug? Nah, the queen just overclocked their system. What? I call shenanigans. I'm basically doing this by watching the lower screen. Defeat 16 Heartless? Oh, this can't possibly be a trap. The surprise Simon Says is getting a little old, not gonna lie. Maybe we should equip a different, let's do Star Rave. Oh no, that's... Press each button rising up from the top. That's not what Simon Says. Let's do Energy Bomb. So I think we'll wind up doing this glitch and then going back and saving. And that's where we'll call it for a day. I don't need to fight you guys. I've already beat the challenge. Next floor. Exit floor in 200 seconds or less? No. Not gonna wager much there. So I like to explore. Although it doesn't look like there's that much around here on this floor. It's this room again. This is the 4th time we've seen this room today. Okay, I know there was another glitch enemy around here. It seems to have despawned, so that's... Hopefully it respawns to the right spot. Nope, just going to ignore you, nerds. Yep, nope, 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 nope. I could have wagered more anyway. Oh well. Don't use any recovery commands. That would require me to have them equipped. Five times we've seen this room. glitches. Of course the exit's up back in the first room. So rude. Defira. Ooh, cure. Absolutely grab that. Watch! Hey, we can go help the rabbit. Defenses, put a blizzard there. We can overclock that. That better not be a lucky strike cigarette. No, it's a Pall Mall. Oh dear, I'm supposed to what? That's something. Yeah, your giant watch in your hand. Yes, of course. I saw the time. I knew I'd be late to the trial. What? Another inkling. Obtained. Trial. Hey, Alice, guess what? You're wanted by Interpol. Right, and that is a perfect place to end it for the day. Let this ad break finish up before I do the sign off. But yeah, that's coded. Sure is a game of all time. It's in some ways it's worse than I remember. In some ways it's not as bad as I remember. So, you know, it is what it is. I need a haircut. Fortunately, I can get one. I went and got the cash for it. My barber only accepts cash in 2025. Yeah, look at my hair. Look at my hair here. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, thanks so much for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with y'all today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Join us again tomorrow. I think we're going to play the Didactic Jesus game. That is its title. It was made in RPG Maker. It was a guy's first game, so we'll give it a look. Wednesday is Minecraft, of course. Although, since it will be October, we're going to be working on the anniversary build. So that'll be exciting. And Thursday, more Donkey Kong Country 3. We should be able to finish that off. So, yeah, thank you to everyone who's liked, followed, subscribed, given bits, all that good jazz. Thank you for checking out the YouTube and the Discord. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and let's see who's live that we can raid into. Inca is live and is doing some singing, so let's go her way. Raid call will be Father Raid, as usual. Spam any emotes that you want, especially the Meat Morph. It's a great one. But anyway, hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. God bless.